to stay at the Pasquale's. They were getting out free gabagool and mozzarella. And it was probably as big a crowd as we're having as Italians here today. I gotta tell you though, we don't just have Italians, and let's talk about the elephant in the room or the elephant outside the room. You want to be outside, it's 80 degrees and sunny. Forget about it. You came here to laugh, get your fill of linguini. I'm going to be up here for probably, I'm going to try for 45 plus minutes. Now, if you have to go to the Bacaus, all right, everybody at your table, tell the uninitiated what the Bacaus are. The toilet, the bathroom, the restroom. Now, it's a slangular expression because if you have any grandparents or parents and they go, I gotta go to the Bacaus. I found out that that is actually, back in the day, the back of the house. I gotta go back of the house. There's no toilet. That's a true story. Bacaus. You're learning something. I'm going to get to you in a second.
We didn't have it.
I want to officially welcome you. This again is the first and could be possibly the last LOL. I came up with the idea, and you people were crazy enough to show, but I realized, where can you get a pasta unlimited for 15 bucks? You're here for the deal.
Yeah.
Came for the entertainment. You're going to be up next too, don't worry about it. All these hecklers, they're going to get their just desserts or their just sfogliatelle, right? So anyway, what I want to say too is we at the club here, as you can see, are all inclusive. We actually have social memberships now. If you have Italian lineage, that's fine too. So we're expanding, moving into the next generation. And to show you how all-inclusive, did you check out who our ticket salesman was? We know how to hang in Italy. You got the nice Jewish guy over here. That's Mark. Mark is his grandmother is of Italian lineage. He is our sergeant at arms. He's a great volunteer. So, L'Haim and I salute to you. All right, now let's get down to some business here. Okay, cheap plug right off the top. It's from my book, front cover. I'll talk about the stunad next to me in a little bit. But the man who shot this, I have a lot of folks who've been in my professional and personal life. Stu Z actually shot this, captured this, and it actually made me look like I was having a good time. Where's Stu Z in his Z studio? There he is. He just photographed everyone from Frank Sinatra to Tony Pagnotti. All right, now we're going to start working on La Familia. La Familia. Well, we are, again, trying to get some younger folks. You know, us older dudes, we're kind of like, you got to get the new blood in here. So, we are looking for some youths.
Youths.
You've all seen My Cousin Vinny.
Yeah.
Youths. Now, do Italians, all Italians say youths? Yeah, probably. Do all Italians have a cousin Vinny?
Yeah.
Well, I have a cousin Vinny Pagnotti. Lives up in Old Forge, PA. He's an Italian entrepreneur. He has a convenience store off Route 81, his own. He makes the meatballs in the morning. He has a government job in the afternoon. He knows people in high and low places. And when I first joined the club, Tom Moscato said to me, any relation to Vince Pagnotti up in Old Forge, PA? I go, yeah, that's my cousin Vinny. He goes, well, you know, we used to call him back in the day, the what? The Italian magician. Really? I didn't know, magician? Yeah, he has this reputation for suddenly making people disappear. What would my cousin Vinny think if I were talking and busting his meatballs? Let's ask him, my cousin Vinny! He drove all the way down here with his lovely wife, Linda Genovese, right? He knows who he's marrying, right, Genovese? Just a coincidence. Speaking of which, a lot of us know that our family, especially the older Italians, would like for us to marry an Italian, okay? Well, my sister did not marry an Italian. She went out, and I think she might have done this on spite, married an Irishman named Dane Davis. Ladies and gentlemen, my sister Anne-Marie and Dane Davis. There's more La Familia to come. My two cousins from up in the suburbs of Scranton, PA. You're next, Theo. Hang in there. Actually drove down yesterday, stayed at a hotel. They love each other as sisters, but when they're in the car together, they fight like, you know, I hate to be in that car. They made it here, and when they came to Little Italy, I said, just go pasta Sabatinos and pasta Ciparellis, and you take a right and you're here. Ladies and gentlemen, my wonderful cousins, Andrea and Mario. I think that's it for family. Did I miss, oh no, yes. All right. Let's see how he's going to cooperate. Let's bribe. My daughter, Annie, I moved to Baltimore from Howard County about 6 months ago, lives in Canton, and she said, you got to be down here, and it's been the biggest pleasure of my life. I have other grandchildren. My daughter is down in Arlington. She couldn't make it today, but Annie Pagnotti, she's only half Italian, but how beautiful. Bellissimo. Stand up, Annie. Annie Noel, born on Christmas Day, and I won't say how many years ago. And now, this guy is a paisano, sort of, kind of. My grandson. Take a look at this dude. He's going to be 3 years old. We're going to see if he cooperates. His name is Theodore Anthony. I got my name in there. Now, is that a paisan? Look at that blonde hair, blue eyes. Now, my dentist is here, and he came up to me and said, I thought he was breaking my meatballs, and he said, do you know your grandson looks just like you? And I go, I don't know whether Dr. Gibb here needs glasses in addition to being a dentist, but he said I look, you think I do look like Theo looks like me?
Yeah, the face does.
I'll take it, Annie. Can you see Annie now? Annie's shaking her head, no, come on. That's a compliment. All right, let's get to a reference here to this book. Not that I'm trying to sell the book, but I happen to have about 150 copies in the trunk of my car. All because my agent, the agent to the stars, well, actually, the agent to me, is in the house. His job 2 years ago when the book came out was to sell as many of those books as possible. I call him, in a very affectionate way, Joey the Pimp. Not because he's a scandalous person as far as that what you're thinking. He's a former businessman and a referee, but he prides himself in being able to sell. Joey, how many books have you sold?
Not a lot.
There's Joey the Pimp. Joey the Pimp. Joey is 84 years old.
Hey.
He's got the energy and the fun. When I met the guy, I said he has to be nice. He married in Sicilian. He's married to, well, was married to a Sicilian, but definitely. But here, Joey, what I got to do today, and I hope you don't take offense to this. Joey, Jenny Burkhart, you're fired.
Give me another chance.
wants another chance, but I'll almost give him another chance because I'm going to replace him, my new agent. He doesn't know it yet. He actually is a very successful businessman. He has the Sound Garden in Fells Point. You've probably been in there. He is an entrepreneur. He happens to be Joey's son, and he's here too. My new agent, Brian Berger. Stop by the Sound Garden and ask for the...
Somebody steal his car so we're done with the books.
Somebody steal the cars. He's always a comedian. Anything Brian says, being from the Sound Garden, it's always when he talks to you off the record. All right. Now we're getting down to some nitty-gritty here, if you will. There are indeed men, sons, and daughters of Little Italy, and we have some real pioneer members, I say that in a nice way, of the women. Where is Pat? Is it Novak, or is it McGuire, or where is she? Pat uses a couple different names. Tell us why.
Well, because I've had a lot of husbands.
And this isn't scripted. This is definitely, I'm not sure where. Pat, you never know when you're talking about. Tell us about it.
Well, I married them and they all died, every single one of them.
I mean, I'm sorry for your losses.
Yeah.
But was it a coincidence? Was it something in the pasta you made?
I don't know. They all died. One died a week later. I married him on Friday and he died the following Saturday, a week later.
Maron. I think you need to write a book. What's that?
Big insurance policy.
Big insurance policy. Whoa. Would an Italian do that? No.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, the woman who just talked to her is one of those who has been around, and I know you're in your 80s, right, Angie? Are you in your
I'm
80s?
39.
39. Yeah. Angie's been around. She's active on Facebook. I mean, you see her, you wonder, like, and definitely, when her age, she doesn't look her age, but definitely she's so active. But I don't know if you knew this, she also has another hidden talent where if she gets to know you, she can communicate with dead Italians. Some of your husbands, perhaps. Yeah, you know, those dead Italians who passed away. Hey, you paid $15. What the hell do you expect, Penny Youngman? He's dead. I guess I'm living too here. No, you know what though? I hope she brought her she may do a seance later when we're done here.
Yeah.
She has a very special way to do this seance for Italians. She uses her Luigi board. 1, 2, 3. All right. If indeed you have to leave, and I don't know why you would want to leave, please try to leave as I'm going to get through this front door not being noticed, right? I know you might have something else to do, but deal with it. Stay here, because we're going to have a good time whether you want to or not. Now, let's move on. Oh, well, I got to tell you, a reason why you don't want to go out that door, I have enlisted the help of AI. Which will track your every move if you leave. Not artificial intelligence. Almighty Italians, and they're all at that table. Oh my goodness. Almighty Italians led by Santo. Everybody. Santo, I can refer to him as the Prince of Provolone, the bacala of all of us good fellas. He is unofficial mayor of Little Italy. I've called him a lot of things. And he, too, on Facebook, when's this guy ever home? And secondly, let's ask his wife, Marianne, how the hell did she let him out so many times like that? She's at work. He tells her he's home, getting the dinner ready. Speaking of which, I know some of this has been made up, but this is a true story, and Santa will verify it, about the car. This is true. Last week, Santa gets on the phone, calls Marianne and says, I have no key.
No.
Sir, you bring in, oh, that's good, we'll have it for dinner. He goes, no, my car, I have no key. Oh, well, yeah, I'll make the salad and we'll have the bread. He had locked his keys in the car, but, with his pronunciation, she was saying, of course, okay, bring the no-key home. So then Santo doesn't exactly have patience if you perturb him just enough. So he's locked out of his car. He's locked out, and he's just like shaking his head, and he goes, I can only take so much of this. I can only take so much of this. I can only take so much of this. And she says, oh good, you're going to Vaqueros, get some school you down while you're there. It was a true story. He was locked out, but of course the other stuff was made to make you hopefully laugh. Speaking of Santo, and I was, Santo will tell you he's proud to be Italian, but he's even prouder to tell you Sicilian, right? Sicilian.
They're not Italian.
Uh-oh, we could be having a fight here.
Hawaiians are American.
Now we know what happened to the husbands.
I should give them the mic. They're doing better than I am up here. Now we know what happened.
My husband wasn't Sicilian.
Anyway,
Polish.
that's better than my line. That how good it is. So Santo his family came from a very rough section near Sicily. Crime by day, it was a real spaghetto. And would you believe, even back then, ladies of the evening,
Wow.
prostitutes roaming the streets.
That was good. I like that one.
Oh my God.
Okay, the almighty Italians, some of them are here, and they're at Santo's table. And it's a real honor when you are selected to be at Santo's table. You may see it says Santo 1, Santo 2. Everybody wants to sit with Santo. Every month down at DEE'S, we have what's called Romeo, retired old men eating out. Romeo. Great group of Italian guys, really fun. Two things. If you RSVP to, where's Gary Molina? He's here, isn't he? You see, he puts out an email. You have like 5 minutes to get on. There are only 18 spots because DEE'S sets a table for us, and they can only fit it. You get on that list, right? There's a waiting list a lot of times if you don't. You go, it's on the waiting list, etc. That's how difficult it is to get on there. God forbid you RSVP, and it's time to sit down at 1 o'clock and ready to manja. Santo sees an empty chair. Who's missing? Oh, I think he was sick, and no, I didn't hear from him. So no sooner as that happened, his phone rings. Yeah. Well, I know things happen. Yeah. Why aren't you here? Well, yeah, you said you were going to be here. No, you cannot bring your wife. You cannot bring your wife. Not that we have any secrets, but let's say we kind of do call it the Costa Nostra because that means our thing. And it is. It's a brotherhood. It's a brotherhood that we have where maybe we say some things that, just you want to talk among guys. Is it scandalous? No. As a matter of fact, I think if you ladies here who are the wives of, there's another side to us. I say Romeo should stand for reflection, openness, meditation, engagement, omerta, sealed, silence. Well, I don't think they'll mind this. I'm going to share with you two sensitive stories, or how that they talk about their wives in a good way. First, let's see. Oh yes, I know. Tom and Bonnie Montecalmo. They've been with the lodge for years. She's the sunshine girl. And you know, Tony was telling us, you know, I've been in love with the same woman for the past 54 years. And if Bonnie finds out, she's going to kill me. Yeah, that Henny Youngman. And Gary, speaking of Gary, Molina, Gary also shared what a wonderful life and wife he's had all these years. He said to us, guys, that's how we talk about, hey guys. Yeah. He said, when we exchanged vows, how many years ago, Gary?
26.
26 years ago, we're saying, you know, you guys just seem like it's a great marriage. He goes, well, when we exchanged vows on that day, we said, to keep this marriage strong, we're going to go out twice a week. To this day, he goes out Friday, she goes out Saturday. Finally, before we get to a commercial, there's actually going to be a commercial. I guess he wasn't there, but again, I mentioned Tom Moscato earlier. We exchanged a lot of health things and different things and of that sort. And the one thing he shared with me that I shared with a few guys at Romeo, because I thought, you know, we're all talking about health all the time. And Tom said, you know, I had a real problem with hemorrhoids. And I said, I don't want you to go there. He goes, no, I took these Italian suppositories. They're called innuendo. We'll be right back with more hilarity as soon as I get a little sip of water, and I'm going to be back with a commercial in 30 seconds. Hi friends, Tony Pagnotti here with a word about Cologuard. If you're over 45 years of age, you should be screened for colorectal cancer. We at Cologuard know that a lot of folks avoid the colonoscopy. I hate saying that word, but you know, it's invasive, but now here the folks at Cologuard want you to know that all you have to do is stoop and poop in the own comfort and confines of your own bathroom. And then we take care of it. You send the number 2 in a sealed container. I'm not making this up if you use Cologuard. And you have 2 choices. You can send it FedEx Lax or U.P.S. United Food Service. Talk about a new meaning for what can ground do for you. And for all you digital folks out there, go to our website and click on the QR code. And it'll take you right to our crap app. Back to Tony and the hilarity. be an Italian. You know, Tony Bennett was Antonio Benedito, D. Martin, D. Crecchetti. Did you know Alan Alda? Alphonse Di Abruzzo, that's Alan Alda. And Lady Gaga, Stephanie Germanotto. So I, early on in my career, was asked when I was doing radio to change my name to Tony Page. And my father was not keen on that idea. He said, keep your name, it'll work to your advantage someday. Well, let me say that he did not only want me not to change my name, he didn't want me to go into broadcasting. My father built up a neighborhood pharmacy from scratch, Pagnotti's Pharmacy. Poor kid from Old Forge, PA, and wanted his son to follow in his footsteps. I, of course, had no aptitude, I like to say that, I had no aptitude for chemistry. And my mother, bless her heart, Andrea, and wrote to say how great Aunt Anna was. She left too early out of my life. But it's the kind of thing where you just, you wonder as far as like, am I ever going to get a job in broadcasting? Because it's tough. I had gone to Boston University. I was on the radio. I was Big Daddy Pags, playing the hits back in the 70s. There was a guy on right after me, he was a college student there too, and he was on the radio and said, this guy was doing sex and racial humor, so inappropriate. This is 50 years ago. I don't know whatever happened from Howard Stern. Last I checked, his net worth is $780 million, and he's still on the radio on Sirius XM. But anyway, my career started a little bit more modestly, to say the least. I'm looking for a job, and my mother, bless her heart, always felt that she could do something for her, for her kids to whatever they want to do. So I came out of BU, moved back up to Dunmore, which is a suburb of Scranton. And my mother said, I hope you don't mind, but I got this letter back in the mail, a return correspondence. And I open it. Dear Mrs. Pagnotti, thank you so much for telling me what a bright, hardworking, intelligent son you have. His qualifications, however, do not meet the criteria here at the network. My best to him and to you, thank you for writing, Walter Cronkite, CBS News. And that's the way it was. And I said to my mom, why did you do that? What does a good old Italian mom say? You gotta know somebody. I go, you don't know Walter Cronkite. He comes into our living room every night. If you don't believe me, another shameless plug, I dedicate my book and I say to my mom who wrote to Walter Cronkite. Meanwhile, my first TV job, $4 an hour. This is 1976. I'm not sure what minimum wage was, but 1976. Asheville, North Carolina. Now, Asheville, I hear, is very she-she these days. Back then, 50 years ago, it was Andy of Mayberry. There were stills. I covered the news. I was a reporter, photographer, editor. We had film processing back then. And so I was going to take the job. And my father said, we spent all that money at BU and you're going to go work $4 an hour? I'll give you $5 to work in the drugstore. Dad, I got to follow my dream. So I followed my dream, and I was on TV, but when you go to the small markets, you make mistakes because they pay you $4 an hour. So I was a reporter. I learned a hell of a lot. But I was on TV, and sure enough, I'm there maybe 6 months, and I'm starting to be recognized, like when I was going to McDonald's or somewhere. So I'm walking into McDonald's, and I see these two teenage-type guys, and they go, hey, are you Tony Pagnotti? And I go, yeah. And they go, are you Italian? Yeah, I'm Italian. Is your kid in the mafia? No. Said my cousin Vinny. No, just kidding.
Hey!
Just kidding. And I said, do you like Ganoshi? You know, so of course I'm learning stereotypes are alive and well, especially with. So they said, you know what, though we know another Italian, Mr. Caputo is our shop teacher, and you know, he's a real mean guy, but maybe we can, you know, get on his good side. Can you teach us something in Italian to tell him? I go, you know what? Italians use their hands a lot. How about I won't teach any words. This will be very easy to remember. First you go to Mr. Caputo tomorrow and you go, and then you go. And then they said, well then what'll happen? You go, then you pick your hillbilly ass off the ground and apologize to Mr. Caputo for telling him to go do what you told him to do to himself. So I stayed there another year and a half, learned a hell of a lot, went on to Columbus, Ohio, stayed there a couple of years, go to New Haven, Connecticut. At least they're more Italians, you know, Italian Americans up in New Haven. It was nice, and my first anchor job was there. And I had this photographer named John Mongillo, a typical old Goomba guy who'd been there for years. He goes, hey, Tony, I want to tell you, the GM of this place is notorious for hating the W word. You know what the W word is for Italians?
The bad papers.
There you go.
Three-letter word. Begins with a W. Anyway, yeah. And so I said, see, he's doing pretty good. Is he going to make it? He can go. I think he's saying, I've heard enough of this crap. As a 3-year-old, it was like, you know. This is nap time. This is prime time nap, so I appreciate the fact that he's here. So let's see, 3-letter word. Well, what was I saying? I forgot the word. Oh yeah. He goes, yeah, the GM is notorious for not, and he uses the W word, and I hear that he doesn't like you. He didn't hire me, a news director did. And I've heard that he doesn't want you on the air. No, not really. So this is the first time I found out TV could be very cruel. A lot of professions are cruel, but when you're the product, you're on the air, you're like the product, the meat. And if they don't like you, you're there. If you're there, they like you. There's a saying in TV, we love you, we love you, we love you, you're fired. That's what happened there. I said, nah. Well, sure enough, within 2 weeks, I get called in, not by him, but by the guy who hired me. Said, you know, we're not going to renew your contract. Thanks, you did a nice job. Is there anything I could do different? No. And I'm thinking, yeah, am I going to ask you that the GM hates Italians? No. So I learned, okay, move on. It happens. I was told it happens. So I'm out of work, and I figured, you know what? I got to file for unemployment. So in those days, you had to go in face-to-face, you know, not online. And I went in, and then all of a sudden, I see a couple of younger guys in the unemployment line, and I see them pointing over at me. And then they're looking, they come over and go, hey, are you Tony Pagnotti, Action News? And I go, well, I used to be. And they go, where's your camera? We're out of work. You going to take our picture and put us on your show tonight? And I go, oh my gosh. So, I was out of work for a while. Before I'm out of work, I've got to say that when you're out of work, you're like, am I ever going to work again? Well, in TV, it's even worse than that because there's so few jobs. So, as luck would have it, and maybe my cousin Mary Rose, who says novenas, she's done more prayers for people. She must have been saying a novena, because I get a call from WNBC TV 30 Rock in New York City. Wow. I thought I literally died and went to heaven. They said, we saw one of your tapes that was being sent around, and we think we have an opening for a general assignment reporter. we'd like you to come in. I went in, I'm in 30 Rock. This is in the days of Jane Pauley, Willard Scott, Tom Brokaw. That was, 1982. So I'm on the air, but I'm a general assignment reporter. So that means I could cover some fun stuff, which I love to do, but also the day-to-day death and destruction. So I'm up there down there in the subway covering a train derailment in Manhattan. And of course, you always get a group of people around you when they see you're live on TV, right? So my psychology is, look, you'll all get on TV if you just stay there. If they see you going, hi, Mom, and screaming, none of us are going to get on. So that was my psychology. So I'm on there saying, and so this D train was traveling da-da-da-da-da, and I'm doing my shtick, and everyone's behaving. All of a sudden, I feel a hand on my wallet. I'm being pickpocketed. Live on the air. Live, local, late breaking. There goes my wallet. So I try to do this, and just that, I felt that he must have ran because the wallet was still there. So I go back to Hurley's, which was what we used to call 6H. It was a bar where all the people from NBC went and we tell our war stories. Oh, you're not going to believe it. My first experience in the subway, God tried to pick my pocket. Well, there's this older statesman who'd been a reporter for years. He goes, I hate to up you one on that, Tony. I was out at a fire, some spot news story, and I'm there, and there's a crowd around me, and I'm talking, and all of a sudden, they didn't go for my wallet, but they went for the family jewels. I said, what did you say? And he goes, well, the incident happened earlier today when the youth came through the hair. I go, okay, I get it. Well, what happened was I always loved doing positive, feel-good stories, and I did well in live TV, so they said to me, our second banana for weather, the second guy, is leaving. Have you ever done weather? I go, no, I've done sports, news. Well, we think you could do it. Someone gives you all the information, we'll send you to weather service, it'll give you a crash course. So here I was, the largest market in the world, doing the old green screen. You never know how when you're there, you're pointing to nothing behind you. That's the hardest job of weather, by the way, when you're trying to not point to Alaska versus So I'm doing a heck of a job. They said, you know what? We're going to offer you the second banana position. Full contract, I would be making well into the 6 figures. Woo! For $4 an hour, I hit the lottery. So I hadn't yet signed the contract. I get called in 2 weeks later. Well, there's a change. Our consultants say that we have a diversity issue here. All the 4 people on the news are white. You, of course, even if you're Sicilian, you're not dark enough to say that. They didn't say that. They didn't say that. They said, you know what, we have to go with a minority candidate. And there's this guy in Cleveland, Ohio, who's been doing weather. We hear that he's really solid. He's a great find. We're going to hire him. Al Roker. Whatever happened to that guy? Another guy who didn't make it. And here I am on a Sunday, 80 degrees, and I'm doing LOL. I'll tell you, I get no respect. I get no respect. All right, I'm going to move on to Baltimore, because what am I coming up on 50 minutes? 50? All right, I'm going to get to the almost good stuff. All right, so in Baltimore, here's a little Italy story for you. When I came to town, I actually, after NBC, I went back up to my home, had no job. My mom said, hey, are you back? Are you back, Anthony? I'm going to make the manicotti tomorrow. My father says, I told you you should have been a pharmacist. So anyway, I was home for 6 months, and then Baltimore came a calling. They saw one of my tapes. I get here, and I just fell in love with, I had never really been to Baltimore. Wow, neighborhood. So they told me, you got to go to Little Italy where the ladies make ravioli. So I come down here, and they said, your contact person is going to be Lucy Pompa. Everyone remember Lucy? Bless her soul. She was the point person for the pasta. So I go up to introduce myself with my photographer, Jack Miller, and when you work with a photographer, in my case, I'm still in touch with Jack. He's a dear friend, and you never know what Jack would say when you were out at a store. He had a good sense of humor, but maybe it might be slightly inappropriate. So Lucy comes up, says, hi Lucy, I'm Tony Pagnotti, nice to meet you. And she goes, oh my goodness, Tony, I didn't realize how tall you were. Wow, and look at your feet. What? I go, yeah, size 15. Jack, standing right there, says, yeah, you know he's proportional. I go, Jack, what? And I do this, and Lucy goes, well, he's right, you do have large hands. Ladies and gentlemen, he too, you're not going to believe how old or young this guy is. He's here with his lovely wife, Roxanne. The always funny, sometimes inappropriate, but he's a hell of a good guy, Jack Miller and his wife, Roxanne. Wave to them. And you know he says he doesn't dye his hair. Can you believe he doesn't dye his hair? All right, let me talk a little weather because I will keep this. Yes, I am known, obviously, besides my feature stories and telethons, etc., for weather. Whether I'm right, but often I'm wrong. Please don't shoot me. It's only a forecast, you see. People want to hold you hostage if they think you made the wrong forecast. And it's a forecast. You know, nowadays with technology and everything, it can be pretty accurate, but again, you can miss. Only God, of course, knows ultimately the final weather of that day. So, I started this little shtick referring to when I was on the air. I'd say it's 62 degrees in Baltimore, and the humidity is 82%. Does anyone remember me saying humidity? It didn't last too long, but it was around. So one day I finished my weather, and a lady, our receptionist, says, there's a lady on the phone who wants to talk to Mr. Pagnotti's boss. I go, what is it about? She says, it's about your weather. Okay, transfer it over. Hello, how may I help you? I didn't identify myself. Hello, how may I help you? Yes, is this Tony Pagnotti's boss? I go, yes, it is. I'm in charge of him. He said, well, you know, I'm a school teacher for the past 30 years in Baltimore, and I think he's a terrible role model because some of my children are saying humidity, and that is incorrect. And I said, you know what, ma'am? You have a point there. I am going to terminate Mr. Pagnotti as of tomorrow. No, you don't have to. I'm just like, no, thank you. And people say do the darndest thing, right? So another thing about weather that you think someone would say to me, I saw you last week and you said it was going to rain and it was sunny. Well, guess what? I haven't done weather. I'm retired, and once in a while they used to call me, now there's all these young kids, my kids' age, in the 30s if they're that. So I haven't been on TV in 2 years, but they swear they saw me. So what I do is I say, are you sure it was me? Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, I saw you. Well, you all heard of Tony Pan? You know Tony Channel 11? He told, when we met up one day, several years ago, he said, you know, people come up to me and say, hey, Tony Pagnotti. People come up to me and they think his forecast is my forecast from a week ago. So on Facebook, I call him Son, and he calls me Pop for a very good reason. I went to the CBS, this is probably over 5 years ago, and the woman who knows me rings me up and says, can you tell him something? Why does your son not use your full family on the weather? I go, wait a minute. His name is, TP. He's on TV. He does weather. He's my son. So I hope you're not thinking, gee, that Tony Pan was funny at LOL today. Here you are. I think there might be someone in here who maybe thought, maybe it is Tony Pan. let's see. I think I'm gonna wrap it up. I'm gonna quit while I'm behind. And I gotta say this. I'm gonna tell one funny. Not that I'm gonna start telling a funny story, but I'm gonna end with a very funny story in just a second. First of all, I just want to thank A.P.S. Where is he? He's the man who started. He started this club when he was a young man, you know, back in the day. So, Aaliyah, raise your hand. He lives in Italy, and he came in just for LOL. Thank you for that, Aaliyah. Oh, and one last thing. My cameraman here. You know, we don't like to be stereotyped, right? Well, this guy, he changed his name. He's Italian. But I want you to see if you think the man Ron Savage, who's on WCBM, I want you to walk down. He was the mafioso pinup in Mafioso magazine. Come on down. Look at this. Take a bow. Take a bow. Hey, you know what? You can go to Chiparelli's. They have a Saturday night special of Ron's Broken Leg of Lamb. Just stereotype, but sort of, kind of. Anyway, so I am going to end with, was I saying something before I introduced Ron, other than the fact I'm going to do the last, oh, I know. And this isn't meant for sympathy, believe me. Some lodge members know, a year ago at this time, I couldn't stand up. I was in a wheelchair. I was diagnosed with a condition, and I'm not going to go into. The good news is I had treatment, and then all of a sudden things went awry. I was in a wheelchair, I couldn't stand up, pressure problems, all kinds of craziness. But through prayers, through my wonderful cousin Rose, she knows she even doesn't have to say St. Anne or St. Anthony. She goes, hey Anne, hey Anthony, hey Jude, hey good song, hey Jude. But anyway, I'm standing here to say I wasn't sure I had a seat nearby because I thought this is the longest I've stood in one place, and it's only because I fed off of all of your good energy. You said, why are you starting now being funny? So, I had a great uncle, Giuseppe, and his wife Angelina. So, they were married for 60-some years. Poor Giuseppe, 90-ish, started having all kinds of health issues, all kinds of issues. And he's like, I don't want to go to hospice, I want to go stay at home. If I die at home, I die at home. I want to be comfortable. We can understand that. So, Giuseppe is in a hospice-type bed. He's home. And Angelina's there. So, all is going well. And he's just comfortable. He'd be falling in and out of sleep. So, he's laying there. And all of a sudden, he smells a set for pizzelles. Angelina would make these pizzelles with the anisette. He loved them. He loved them. Only she made them for holidays and special occasions. And he thought, I can't even get out of this bed, but I got to. I would do this if I could get down, but I probably won't get back up, so I'm not going to. You'll have to use your imagination. Oh wait, where did it go? Oh wait, 1 second. Hold on. The punchline.
Oh, God.
The punchline. I have a prop for this, and I forgot. Hold this 1 second. All right. It's worth the prop. I paid $6 for this, so. Here's the big finish. Get ready to cue the music. Is Terry, all right, cue the music on the big finish here. So, poor Giuseppe gets out of bed, crawling, smelling the anisette, following it so much that, oh, He's crawling, and he knows that the kitchen is right around the corner. And the table is, well, we'll make this the table. So picture him, he can't see it, but he knows that Angelina has left all the nice freshly baked itself right there. So he's thinking, and he just feels, he puts his hand there, and then all of a sudden, guess what happens? Oh my goodness. All of a sudden, Giuseppe, what are you doing? We're saving those for the guests after the funeral. The wind's moved. We're saving those for after the funeral. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much.
This has been a Ron Savage production.